So slightly scarily, it's been a couple of years almost since Huawei launched its last big wearable, the Watch GT2. I still remember vividly unboxing it in a Munich hotel room at 5 AM with a stinking hangover. I think my breath alone could have killed a polar bear from about 20 paces. And since then we've seen a few variants emerge like the Huawei Watch GT2 Pro, the GT2e, but only now, almost halfway through 2021, do we finally have a true successor, the Huawei Watch 3, sporting that fresh new HarmonyOS. And this looks like a great bit of wearable tech, packing all kinds of great new features not found on earlier models. What I'm going to do now is whip it on out the box, take you on a full-on tour of the hardware and the software ahead of my in-depth review. And the best part is, this time around, I'm not hungover in a bloody hotel room, so that's always a bonus. And for more on the latest greatest tech, please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So first up, of course, what do you actually get in the box? Well, the answer is one Huawei Watch 3. You've also got one proprietary magnetic charger for powering up the Huawei Watch 3 when it's low on juice. Looks very similar to the one on the GT2, except now it's all connected. You can't disconnect the head from the USB cable. And that magnetic connection seems to be just as strong here on the Huawei Watch 3 as on those earlier models as well. It takes some serious jiggling to get it to disconnect, despite the fact that the Huawei Watch 3 is a bit of a hefty bugger. How many other tech YouTubers do the jiggle test? Not many. That's right, that's why you come to Uncle Spurt. And you've also got a saucy bit of QR code action as well to help you download that Huawei Health app, although it is freely available on the likes of the Google Play Store and Apple's App Store as well. And we'll be using that to set up the Huawei Watch 3 in a jiffy. So as of right now, the Huawei Watch 3 only comes in this one size, that is 46mm. There might be a 42mm version launched in the future, but Huawei is remaining tight-lipped on that one. First impressions, I've got to say, are pretty strong. I really like the aesthetics here on the Huawei Watch 3, even though it is undeniably one hell of a chunky Godzilla beast. Certainly a hefty mofo as well. You'll definitely feel it the first time you slap this thing on your wrist, at least if you've got weedy little man boy biceps like I do. Definitely check back for my full review for more on that. But the stainless steel casing looks really nice. Hopefully will prove rugged as well, as hopefully will that 3D curved glass, because there's no bezel action to protect it from everyday scratches and scuffs. If you fancy more premium finish, we'll definitely check out the Huawei Watch 3 Pro instead. That'll come packing a beefier price tag, of course, but what you'll get is a sapphire display, so that'll be hardier and tougher to scratch. You also get a titanium body and a good bit of ceramic backing instead. So in other words, very similar design to the Huawei Watch GT2 Pro. As for the actual strap that you get bundled with the Huawei Watch 3, well, that'll depend on which model you choose. You've got the Active, for instance, which comes with the fluoro elastomer strap, which is great for if you're doing lots of exercise. You've also got a Classic, which comes with the nylon strap, and the Elite model, which comes packing a stainless steel link bracelet. But just like most other Huawei smartwatches, as you can see there, you can actually pull off the bands, detach them entirely, and attach a new pair to suit whatever you're going to be up to. So slap on a leather band if you're going to be having a wild night out on the town, whatever. And yeah, the Huawei Watch 3 is fully water resistant. You can rock it in the swimming pool, get a good bit of swim tracking on the go. As you can see here on the side of the Huawei Watch 3, you do have a rotating crown, which also doubles as the power button, and then you've got another button down beneath as well. So let's just power up the Huawei Watch 3, see if we've got any juice in the tank, get it all set up, and then we can tour the rest of the features. Thankfully, pairing up with your smartphone is an absolute piece of piddle. All you need to do is download the Huawei Health app. The two will be connected in less than a minute. So as I mentioned before, this is the first Huawei smartwatch to come rocking a good bit of HarmonyOS, although touch wood, it seems fairly easy to get to grips with if basically used to Wear OS or any of the previous Huawei smartwatches. First up, I really like the main watch face that comes as default. It's packed with information, although it doesn't feel too cluttered. So for instance, it tells you just how active you've been. You've got the main time and everything on there. You've even got when the sun will set later that day. You can have an alternative time setup as well if you've got a loved one in a different time zone. And you've also got shortcuts on there to your call records if you want to see exactly who's been ringing, and your bit of heart rate action too. If you tap the little planet icon or simply swipe right, then you will access the weather information. Whereas swiping the other way will bring up a whole bunch of widgets. This is fully customizable, showing you all of the information you want fast access to. Unfortunately, right now, at the time I shot this video, there are very few actual widgets that you can play around with. You've basically got your activity records, you got your heart rate monitor, and you got your SpO2 monitor as well. And that is it. Even if you dive into the custom section, there are no more that you can add to that selection. Hopefully that will improve soon though. And then back at that main watch face, swipe up in order to access any notifications that have trickled through either via the eSIM or via your tethered smartphone. And then if you swipe down, you'll access a whole bunch of toggles and the settings. And it's in here you'll also be able to check out the current date, the current day of the week if you're that out of touch with what's actually going on, the battery life, and whether you're connected to the likes of Wi-Fi. Gotta say, really liking the settings menu, very comprehensive in terms of the toggles. You've got access to all the usual stuff like do not disturb, a torch feature, alarms, find my phone, even the ability to drain the watch if you've been in water. Give that a little prod. And basically the speakers will emit a pulse, and that just helps to spit any liquids out of the orifice. Shake and tilt, baby. Oh yeah. And the actual HarmonyOS settings menu is very dense indeed. You can customize all kinds of stuff on this thing. So as you see, you've got fast access to the Wi-Fi connectivity if you don't have eSIM support or you just want to save your eSIM data. You can play around with the mobile network settings, turn on airplane mode if you need to, check out the status. You've got NFC support as well, although I'm not sure if the Huawei Watch 3 supports contactless payments. It obviously won't support the likes of Google Pay, but I'll check with Huawei to see exactly what that does support. You can fully customize the tiles or widgets, as I mentioned before. If you dive into display and brightness, as you can see, that's on automatic brightness, and certainly seems very, very bright and punchy on that default setting. You can change up the sounds and vibration settings as well. As you can see there, change the ring volume, the AI voice volume, ringtones, all kinds of stuff. You can also turn on the likes of the ultra long battery life as well, which I will touch on later when we mention the battery. And you've got the Huawei Assistant on board this thing as well. You can activate the voice assistant at any point by saying, "Hey Celia." Otherwise, alternatively, you can press and hold the down button. And speaking of that down button, you can configure exactly what happens when you tap that as well. You can either completely disable it or have it bring up a specific feature. And before I forget, let's just put that assistant to the test. So, "Hey Celia, set a timer for 10 minutes.
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
Hey Celia, set a timer for 10 minutes.
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
Okay, let's maybe try an easier one. Hey Celia, what day is it today?
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
No frickin' way. I mean, frankly, she's understanding less than me after a case of scotch, but never mind, let's carry on. The actual display is a 1.43-inch AMOLED panel, 326 pixels per inch, so as you can see, even tiny little images and text nice and crisp and clear. Gotta say, the touch responsiveness is seeming a little bit iffy, certainly right now. It's early software and everything, so I'm hoping that's going to improve, but it does seem that occasionally, certainly when you first wake up the watch, that it occasionally takes a couple of sort of swipes to actually get it going, like so. But once you do get it going, nice smooth transitions thanks to the 60 Hz refresh rate. And as I said before, certainly seems to be nice and bright, even on that automatic brightness level, should be absolutely fine for any outdoors use whatsoever. And because it's an OLED panel, yes, you do have a bit of always on display action as well, as you can see there, and that is also customizable, just like the main watch face. All you got to do is long press on it like so, and then you can choose which one you want. And as you can see, you've got quite a few options on there by default, mostly digital, but we've got a few analog style efforts as well. You can set one of your gallery photos to be the main watch face in addition to that, and you've also got the option of downloading, or should I say uploading actually, more watch faces to the watch via that health app. To check out the other watch faces, just go into the Huawei Health app and go to watch faces, obviously. And then there's a big old selection right there to choose from. Most of them will cost you £1 or £2, but there are some free ones in there if you do go a bit of hunting around if you're a skinflint. And basically something that suits all tastes in there as well. And of course you can get your own watch face on the go with the gallery selection. Here's one I made earlier. This just allows you to choose any photo that you've got on your smartphone, use that as the background. You can then change up the style of the time and the date from a limited selection. Unfortunately, you can't actually change up the color, just basically the font and the layout. That just basically switches it from top to bottom. That is it. Unfortunately, there's no other extra complications or anything that you can add in there. It's quite basic stuff, but nice if you want a photo of the fam or a pretty anime girl if you're an absolute nerd like me. And they all serve up different amounts of information as well. So basically, it's all about your priorities, what you want to have there on the main watch face every time you wake the Watch 3 up. And so far, really like the neat little animations that HarmonyOS throws up. So for instance, when you wake this particular watch face, as you can see there, the temperature bar at the top springs into life. That's a really neat effect. And the always on display will match the main watch face as well, which is again a really nice, neat touch. And the Huawei Watch 3 certainly comes packed with plenty of apps by default as well. And as you can see there, you can zoom in and out of this new grid style setup, kind of similar to the Apple Watch's effort, using that rotating dial. And all the stuff you would expect to find on a Huawei Watch is present and correct. All the stuff you generally find on those previous Huawei Watches, like timers, alarms, all your fitness features, stress busters, all presented really neatly and in a really colourful, bold fashion as well. You do also have a Huawei Music app as well, which allows you to actually stream music direct from the cloud if you like using your eSIM or the Wi-Fi connection. But you will need a Plus Premium membership or whatever to actually get this working. And unfortunately, this doesn't work with other third-party services like Deezer Music. And something that older Huawei watches would not allow you to do is download new apps actually onto the watch, but now you can do that thanks to the inclusion of Huawei's app gallery. So just like Samsung smartwatches, Wear OS devices, etc., you can actually download apps directly onto the watch via Wi-Fi or using that eSIM connectivity. You don't even have to be tethered to your smartphone. However, because HarmonyOS is obviously quite young compared to the likes of WatchOS and Wear OS, the selection on offer is not exactly particularly great. There's a few gaps in there, shall we say. And like previous Huawei wearables as well, lots of fitness support here on the Huawei Watch 3 as well, including of course the good old workout tracking. And I'm not kidding when I say that pretty much anything you could possibly imagine is tracked by this thing. You've got over 100 different types of custom workout covering pretty much anything you could possibly think of. I'm not kidding when I say that all tastes are catered for. Hula hoop, frisbee, darts, does that even count as a sport? Laser tag, tug of war, swinging way, and then basically select your chosen activity and then give it a little tap to begin. You'll get the funky Dutch sounding guy telling you to start your workout. I'll tell you exactly how long you've been exercising for, how your heart rate's doing. As you can see, I'm really enjoying doing this video, and how many calories you've burnt so far. And you can also get some other stats of the go, sort of depending on obviously what activity you are doing.
Workout paused.
And then you can pause it at any time and then cancel the workout as well. You've got the usual GPS smarts built in there, of course, as you'd expect. If you upgrade to the Pro model, you've actually got dual channel GPS for pinpoint precision. And like previous generations of Huawei Watch as well, the Huawei Watch 3 can automatically detect when you start doing exercise and start tracking that for you with your permission, although I'm not sure how good it'll be. Previous generations, occasionally you'd be walking for a good mile or so before it actually clocked that you weren't just sitting on your arse anymore. So again, stay tuned for my full in-depth review for more on all that. You've got plenty of other health smarts built into this. So you've got the usual 24-hour heart rate tracking, of course. Just leave it there on your wrist. It will see how your pulse is doing throughout the day. You've also got a temperature sensor built in there for continuous skin temperature tracking and continuous 24-hour, 7 days a week SpO2 monitoring as well. There's also the obligatory stress tracking, although I'm not actually sure how good that really is because I just had a mini meltdown over a brand new microphone not working, and as you can see there, it didn't even register on the scale. And a good bit of sleep tracking. As you can see there, I got about 8 hours of sleep last night. That's actually fairly accurate. It didn't register when I was just plonked on the sofa just watching TV, which is good because a lot of the lesser sleep trackers do that. As you can see there, yeah, pretty much accurately tracked how much kip I got. You don't get much information actually on the watch itself, but if you jump on into the Huawei Health app again, you can see a bit more detail. As you can see there, light and deep sleep. It gives you a score on how good your sleeping abilities are. Breaks it down into REM sleep, all of that good stuff. And considering I had my first COVID jab yesterday, but I apparently slept all right. Now when it comes to your battery life, the Huawei Watch 3 is definitely a step down from previous Huawei watches, but that's only because it's got that built-in eSIM support as well. So if you've got the eSIM active, then Huawei reckons you'll get probably about 3 days of full-on use with all the features going in the background as well. I've just been using the Wi-Fi and obviously the partnership with my smartphone on this thing so far, and it looks like around sort of 3 to 4 days of use is actually probably what I'll get with that, even without the eSIM action on the go. Because if that's not good enough for you, you can turn on the ultra long battery mode. This will extend the battery life up to 2 weeks, but that will deactivate most of the features like the eSIM. But if the Wi-Fi gets knocked off, it just uses the tethered features, and all it gives you is basically the animated watch faces and a couple of the other sort of standard features you would use, and that is it. I believe the fitness tracking is severely curtailed there as well. You've still got access to around sort of 14, 15 activity modes, I believe it is, but that's it. If that does seriously put you off though, you could always upgrade to that Pro model, because apparently that will extend the battery life to 5 days of standard use, or up to 3 weeks, 21 days with that ultra long battery mode. So anyway, that in a nutshell is the Huawei Watch 3, and as I say, I will keep it slapped on my wrist for the next sort of week or two fully test out the fitness tracking features, the battery life, all that good stuff to see how good they really are, and hopefully bring you that in-depth review soon. In the meantime, it would be fantastic to hear your own thoughts on the Huawei Watch 3. Are you tempted by it? Don't have an official UK pricing or release date just yet because I'm shooting this ahead of the official launch. Hopefully by the time the review rolls around, we'll actually have that information. So cheers for watching. Please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech, and have yourselves a fantastic rest of the week. Cheers everyone. Love you.